Welcome to the Sports Machine with Brian and Dean. After a long Thanksgiving break, we are back. December 3rd, Thursday, recording in Dallas, Texas. Home of FC Dallas, who did lose in the Western Conference Finals at the MLS Cup. Shout out to FC Dallas on a great season. Couldn't overcome that late goal in the first leg. Coming up today's show, Kobe Bryant retiring, NBA Power Rankings, NFL Power Rankings, and of course somebody's gonna get really low. And due to the long break, we have the NFL updates and college football power playoff rankings. Do we agree? Do we disagree? And of course, we have to recap all the action that happened over the weekend, including a game we went to. I know we have some thoughts on the Escobar screen over there.
Man. Yeah, we're going to have to get into that one.
Let's get started in college. College football. Big weekend coming up. Previous weekend. Big weekend. Not big changes in the college playoff ranking with the teams that won. Clemson remains at number 1, Alabama at 2, Oklahoma, and of course Iowa. The great Iowa Hawkeyes.
The great Iowa Hawkeyes.
Zero sarcasm in that. Michigan State coming up just short.
Right.
And Ohio State, after losing, coming in at number 6.
You know what got me? Was the Florida State game. I wasn't expecting that. I think that was probably the biggest surprise to me out of the whole weekend in college football.
I wasn't as surprised.
You wasn't? It was 27-2.
I didn't expect much out of Florida. Maybe I should have.
I expected it to at least be close. Like, to be I expected it to be at least a competition. I mean, I picked Florida to win at home, and they got drove in the swamp.
The problem with Florida was once their quarterback went down, you knew their offense
was going to be limited.
Very limited.
Right.
Florida State is what Florida State is. Not quite elite status,
but not just the back of the.
They're just under that.
Right. Guess you call it's never good to be in the middle of the pack. At least I don't think so. You know, with the team that they had, with the running back that they have, Cook, who's potentially a
Heisman finalist. Probably not going to win the Heisman, but he's
had a great season.
Definitely a finalist for it, seems like.
One of the things that I guess I took away from the weekend was how Ohio State came together and actually done what they were supposed to do. What they actually looked like the team that we were expecting this season when they ran the football the way they were supposed
Elliott
to.
Got the ball.
Exactly.
That's what it was.
And that's one of the things I took. I asked myself that. I was like, why haven't they been doing that this whole year now? But
I mean, Michigan's not Michigan State.
Right.
Defensively.
Right.
I mean, I thought it was going to be a high scoring game. And
right. But when you look at week before last, when they played Michigan State had done the one thing to Ohio State that Ohio State was doing to guys last year, which was running the football effectively. You know, controlling the flow of, controlling the flow of the game. You know, and this time, this is what they did to Michigan last weekend, was they controlled the flow of the game. And because they was able to run the ball effectively, they opened up the pass. That's what a good run game can do for you. If you have a quarterback who may not be able to make all the throws, but can make the throws when you need him to make the throws, can make some things happen for you. And that's what JT Barrett can do. I'm really interested in seeing what happens in the selection of the top 4 teams, because I'm still kind of wondering if Ohio State may get in.
No.
It's possible.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
No, I do not believe it is.
A lot of people didn't think it was last year, that it was possible for them to
Last
get
year,
in.
at least Ohio State was winning the conference.
Yeah.
This year, it's Michigan State or Iowa's going to win that conference.
Here's another question. If Clemson loses to North Carolina, should North Carolina get in?
Yes.
But do you believe that they will let them in? Because right now, I believe they're sitting 10th, right? They're sitting 10th.
I believe they would let them in. I don't see how they could convince people that they shouldn't be in over what team you going to put ahead of them? Maybe Ohio State.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. If Clemson loses, they're out of the top 4. And they wind up putting...
I would take Clemson losing to North Carolina over Ohio State.
You what?
Yes.
I don't see nothing wrong with that. I actually agree with you on that. I honestly feel like when you listen to other shows, when you listen to what some of the experts say, the emphasis this week was they're actually rewarding teams that win their conference. And let's be honest, like Oklahoma is the Big 12 champion, so I think they're a lock to be in.
Good thing they didn't get a tie then.
Exactly. So they are the outright champion of the Big 12, so therefore they're in. And this was minus them even saying that, because I don't think the 12 has announced that Oklahoma is the Big 12 champion. And once they announce that, I think they're in regardless of who wins and anything else. So my next deal was with what is going to be happening with Clemson and North Carolina, because North Carolina had one horrible loss where they lost, I believe, about 3 points against South Carolina the very first game of the season. And it's played solid football all the way across.
North Carolina could just be Ohio State last year.
Exactly. And so...
Could you imagine the Tar Heels being the national champion? That would be...
In football, I know that would be so trippy, because it's like, yo, the Tar Heels of North Carolina, the second inaugural playoff college football champion. Like, shockwaves. You know what? That would be... You know what would be so raw about that? Is the fact that you have so many two-sport type athletes. So it's like for the guys who know they may not be getting drafted or may not be able to play basketball because they may be a bit undersized for their position, like the Antonio Gates and guys like those, turn around and just come play football, good year, have a solid season. Shout out to Gene Chizik, who got their defense playing well.
Speaking of coaches, let's get your take real quick. Miami University in Florida. They hired a new coach. Old boy from Georgia who just got fired.
Mark Richt. He been with that program. He was with the Georgia program for like 15 years.
Yeah, like he had 100 and some wins.
Right.
I don't know the exact numbers.
Led the team to a 9-3 season this year.
50-something losses. Alum at Miami. Good hire. I think it seems like a quality hire to me. I'm not sure if this just makes them back to what they used to be.
I think it's a fantastic hire when you look at how many recruits Mark Richt was having come out of Florida. Like, he was getting guys in Florida to come play in Georgia. And so if you already have a coach who's able to go down and recruit in Florida, having him go down to in Florida where he was a quarterback for the team, he already knows the area. He has the U pride off in him. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's a U kind of guy. So he knows the area. He knows the teams down there. He knows some of the players. A coach like this who I say give Miami University about 2 years, and we'll start talking about them being in the top 10 and being a program to be reckoned with again.
So they might reclaim the name that we no longer call them on this show until they've proven
It's very possible.
the U.
Yes, it's very, very much possible with this guy. All Miami has to do is just be patient.
Well, they're not necessarily known for doing that, so
It's not like Mark Richt hasn't won a national title. That's what they got to remember. And that's something I think Georgia had forgot.
coming up right here on the Sports Machine, moving from college to NFL. This is Brian Franklin with the Sports Machine's daily Sports Machine Sports Ticker. 76ers rookie Jahlil Okafor has been suspended for 2 games. Miami University did hire alum Mark Richt to become the new head coach. And the Los Angeles vote is expected to come next month in the NFL, whether a new team can be decided there. For the NBA scores from last night, the Golden State Warriors took on the Charlotte Hornets, winning 116-99. Kobe Bryant played his last game in Washington, D.C., winning with the Lakers 108-104. Detroit Pistons won in overtime over the Phoenix Suns 127-122. Philadelphia lost to the Knicks by 12, still only has 1 win, losing 99-87. Toronto Raptors took on the Atlanta Hawks, winning 96-86. Chicago Bulls won the low-scoring game 99-90 against the Denver Nuggets. The Houston Rockets beat the New Orleans Pelicans, even though Anthony Davis went off for a big game 108-101. San Antonio Spurs dominated the Milwaukee Bucks 95-70. The Indiana Pacers won a late game matchup against the Los Angeles Clippers 103-91. Just went over the college football recap over the weekend. Let's get over the NFL, where on Thanksgiving Day, we may or may not have attended a game. I don't want to confirm that we were there.
Oh, man, that game. Oh,
The
man.
Panthers did play the Cowboys in Dallas. Panthers are still undefeated, if you didn't know.
And just outclassed the Cowboys. Outclassed them.
I'm just going to let you
2
go.
early pick sixes. Once again, you just give a team 14 points. Just give them 14 points. 2 interceptions by Luke Kuechly. As a Cowboys fan, it sucks when you hear another fan base in your stadium going, Lou. It's like, boo. But once again, it was a great game.
How come none of you Dallas fans were smart enough to come up with, like, when they said Lou, just to say Zer afterwards? Come on.
That's because
we need your brain to be worse.
It's because we quick draws like that. That's the way we think. It's like, oh, y'all okay. But at the same time, it's like you can't even call them losers when
they dominate.
They like exactly. So, once again, my knock on that game was the fact that not just because Tony Romo, I won't criticize him so much for being a gift basket that game as much as B did, due to the fact that we forgot that this guy is just coming back off of what was still a healing collarbone, a broken collarbone. Like, I don't care what anybody say, that collarbone wasn't fully healed. They just had enough. It was healing just enough for him to be able to tolerate and play with it. He was still very, very fragile. I'm talking like cracked egg fragile.
You throw that many interceptions, you get the gift basket of the week.
Here comes Santa Claus!
Sorry, Tony Romo, because you got hurt again right afterwards.
Man, that's funny because I just knew you was going to give it to Matt Ryan, who we get into a little bit later.
Well, he almost gets it every other week. He'll get it next week.
I think him and 3 other quarterbacks is the only quarterbacks to have multiple interceptions. 5 multiple interception games this week. But once again, anyway. My biggest knock on one of the Cowboys games was not our defense, but on a specific play call that was on 3rd and 3. Cowboys decided to go with can't call it a wide receiver screen because technically they went with the tight end. So it was a tight end screen to Gavin Escobar. No, no. We didn't have a mute moment. It wasn't nothing wrong with your set. It wasn't nothing wrong with the challenge you was listening to. That's how I felt when they ran it. I was like, oh, we got a screen to Gavin Escobar. And I looked over at B and said, the rated G version. We just ran a bleeping screen to Gavin Escobar. Now, you can put what you want to put in the bleep button, in that bleep, but how long did I ramble on about that?
I don't understand it.
It was a while.
It's just like,
It was drives.
it's like,
Multiple drives later.
I just couldn't understand it. I was like, wow, like, all right. Here we are. We couldn't get our star wide receiver, number 88. We couldn't get him the ball very much because he was being played by a great cornerback. Okay, we tossed around the word great a little too much. He was a pretty good cornerback that day.
He was okay.
He's pretty good.
We're gonna just let you go over there and be.
As we go into the world of the haters.
Josh Norman, a self-proclaimed Dark Knight.
Yeah, self-made nicknames, not.
He's self-proclaimed. I never called him a Dark Knight. So, whatever. But he had a great game against Dez Bryant. I was saying to myself, it's like, okay, so we go with a tight end screen to Gavin Escobar when we have a guy named Dez Bryant. We also have a pretty shifty playmaker guy in Cole Beasley and Lucky Whitehead. And that's what we chose. That was the best option. So,
Boy, with Jason Garrett. Moving on from the Cowboys.
yeah, I have to because I've rambled on a little too long. We wasn't supposed to go into that, but I'm just still stunned. Stunned.
Other Thanksgiving games that occurred, the Lions dominated the Eagles. Nothing really major there. The Bears had to win against the Packers, 17-13.
We ran a tight end screen
You did.
to Gavin Escobar. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm done. I think I'm over it. I'm over it.
You're on where I've been on for the Bears for a while, but the Bears keep winning. Team tank. Just go ahead and tank the season. Just go ahead and tank the season. Try to get you a high draft pick.
Like, what did they see during the week to make them think that? Okay, I'm
You're
over
still
it.
talking about Escobar.
I'm over it. Like,
For the viewers.
I'm not knocking Escobar. I'm knocking the call.
The play call was terrible.
Like, it was terrible.
There's a reason why the Cowboys don't win if Tony Romo's not in the game.
Because we call wide receiver screens to Gavin Escobar. I'm sorry, tight end screen.
Mix up in the AFC, the Chiefs beating the Bills 30-22.
Heaven help me.
The Chiefs have moved into prime position to make the playoffs in the AFC.
You know what's surprising about that? Because for a while the Raiders was looking like that team. I was like, because I had to tell a guy this the other day. I said the Raiders franchise was never the same after the whole Tuck rule. Think about it. That franchise, it was going from making the Super Bowl in 2 of 3 years. They had lost their first one to Tampa Bay. They didn't make it the next year. They came back their very next season and was playing the AFC Championship game against Brady and them in the infamous Tuck rule game. And after that call, that franchise just went straight to the crapper. Straight to the crapper, B. And they just now starting to recover from that. So it's like one team went on to become a dynasty. The other team went on to become just crap. And that's just my rated G version of it. That's just, they became crap. Not dog crap. Not bird crap. Not even chicken crap. They was just crap. Crap.
I think that was a little
They
unnecessary.
did. They did.
It was unnecessary.
But the Chiefs all playing well. Charkandrick West. Wow. Out of nowhere.
I have something interesting from the AFC because we have been bashing the AFC South all season, deservedly so because of how bad they are.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans beat the Saints 24-6, and they're 6-5. So that means the Colts, who are leading the division, are
At
in the
6-5.
playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The Houston Texans are actually right now the 6th seed, which is a wild card.
So I guess that means the NFC East is just
The NFC
The
East
crank. They
has
just-
become the AFC South. in which the Washington Redskins
lead the division.
lead the division. Kirk Cousins.
Mister, you like that?
You like that?
Please watch them win this game Monday. I'm a Cowboys fan. Cowboys Nation, please forgive me. But I want our team to have a top 5 pick. We need a top 5 pick.
Team Tank has been initiated.
Yes. So all this whole Jerry Jones talking about, hey, no, we're still going to fight. We're still going to win. No, Jerry, no.
Don't do what the Bears are doing right now.
We don't
7
need
and 9
it.
ish. Looking real 7 and 9 ish.
Let's pull a Patriots move, man. Let's take it a top 5 pick. Move it around a little
never
bit.
end up in the top 5.
But they always take a pick and they always get multiple picks.
It's called flipping for profit.
Exactly. So let's take a top 5 pick and flip it for. We can trade back so many. Anyway, we'll get into that later on. But you could take a pick like that and, like you said, make some real good profit for it.
One last thing to get into before the Broncos beat the Patriots in overtime, 30-24. Brock Osweiler.
Oh man,
Brock Osweiler. You are now
Brock
the starter.
solid eye swallower. Get that cat on
He is
somewhere.
now the starter for the Denver Broncos.
If Peyton's healthy, he comes back. He better start.
No,
They shouldn't have hitched themselves onto that wagon. Yeah,
they have hitched themselves.
right.
Brock Osweiler carrying Denver on his back. All of Denver.
All of Denver. He's just become the savior of Denver. Good job. Man, I'm not bad. Once again, to quote Bill Parcells, let's put away the anointing oil real quick. Let's not forget. It was almost about to go in overtime with your Chicago Bears had they been able to complete a 2-point conversion. And who knows what would have happened in overtime. It took overtime to beat the Patriots, who were not
They're
exactly.
the Patriots.
No, they're the Patriots, but let's not act like they're a fully healthy Patriot team.
They're 10-1. They were undefeated going into the game.
Yeah, but they got to where they were with some players that wasn't playing in that game. Now, granted, it's not Osweiler's fault. It's not the Broncos' fault. Injuries happen. Just look at the Cowboys. Look at a bunch of other teams out there that's had injuries. But I'm just saying, let's not act like he beat the Patriots that was what they were at the beginning of the season. Or even 2 weeks ago. That wasn't the same team.
Brock Osweiler didn't beat the Cowboys. He beat the Patriots.
True story. Right now, I want everybody to beat the Cowboys. And I got a right to say that as a fan because I'm a hardcore fan and we want a top 5 pick. Who knows? Ezekiel Elliott.
Only if you give him the ball.
Who? Flex bomb.
Probably just run a screen to Gavin Escobar. Coming up, moving to the NBA, Kobe.
Screen. Maybe we should run a screen to Kobe Bryant.
That is a way better choice than Gavin Escobar. I would love to see Kobe Bryant on a wide receiver screen.
So long as he don't tear a rotator cuff, maybe we could use him at quarterback.
Oh.
I'm not.
As long as it doesn't come out after the fight, Manny Pacquiao status, I might be all right.
Boom.
Moving into Kobe Bryant, over the break on the Sports Machine, Kobe Bryant announced that he does intend on retiring after the season. Saddened by the news. I mean, it looks like it's about time for him to go, but I still didn't want to see it happen.
Right.
I was like, he just play for the Lakers forever. He'd be the 13th man off the bench.
You know, one thing I took from him announcing his retirement was, you know, what he told him is just his mind. He's competitive enough to still want to do it. His mind is still able to want to do it, but his body just can't handle the grind anymore. And
At least he's able to realize that.
exactly, you know, and once again, I can respect him for coming out and being honest. He just straight came out to he just don't want to do it no more. Like body just don't want to do it. Like he can't bash him for that, man. Like to me, like that was one of the most realest speeches from a you know, you could see his eyes watered up, but at the same time he was so tough about it. He was just like, you know, hey, I can't really be upset at anything because, you know, you look at former Lakers like Elgin Baylor, who never won a title. Kobe has 5. So it's like, you know, I've done everything I can do for this franchise. I'm finishing out the season as one player to play for one franchise his whole career.
We don't count the Hornets.
No, they don't count them at all. Like wow. The Hornets got to be just like, never mind. I can't even call it suicide watch because they killed themselves off along with that.
At least they didn't throw a screen to Gavin Escobar.
Yeah, true story. Vanilla offense. From now on, Cowboys offense will be known as vanilla bean ice cream. As a Cowboys fan, I got a right to say that.
Mentioning Kobe retiring, he's been getting good farewells. Got a good farewell in Philly. Good farewell in D.C. Definitely got a good farewell in D.C.
Right. I heard them chanting Kobe tonight.
Yeah.
And you know what? I
agree with that.
Right.
If I do somehow get some tickets to a Kobe game this year, like it's
right.
definitely gonna happen.
Right.
So just be expecting it.
For me, like, I'm happy to see him going out like how Derek Jeter went out last year, how it just became a tour show for him, you know? And even though the 76ers got their first win against them, he came out on fire that first half, and after that it was just, you know, hey, it was what it was, you know. But once again, it was good to see him just enjoying it. And you get what I'm saying? Like, you can still see, like, he was just like, you know, I'm just.
Is there a chance he comes out and has like an average season now? Like, it's been terrible so far.
Right.
So let's say he comes back and just has an average season because he realizes, you know what, this is it. So I'm gonna go all.
You know, I think I think that's not. It's not far fetched.
I mean, it's gonna be Kobe, so it's not gonna be average. It's gonna be either above average or below average.
Right.
He's gonna shoot the shots.
But I think he's at a much happier place with this game, because he came back looking to, I guess, prove naysayers wrong. You get what I'm saying? Like, he came out with a lot of pressure on himself, pressure that he put on himself to come out and be Kobe Bryant of old. But like he said before, it's just his body couldn't do it anymore, you know? Couldn't handle the grind, wasn't going to be able to handle the grind of a season.
Got 2 questions. First question about Kobe Bryant. Where does he list among greatest Lakers of all time?
For me, I'll put him in my top 5, like I'll put him as top 5, one of the top 5 Lakers of all time.
You better than me, because I was going to put him at number 1. I'm putting him at number 1. If you ask my opinion, I think Kobe Bryant's the best Laker I've ever. Best Laker.
Right.
I like Magic.
Right.
I like what Magic did. I've gone back and watched tape.
Mm-hmm.
I see everything he did do.
Right.
But
he was
Kobe had Shaq for a couple years, but I'm going to let you know James Worthy ain't no joke. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is no joke.
No lie.
So
Elgin Baylor, Jerry West.
Like Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after
right.
Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. Kobe had Powell and Shaq.
Right. So think about it. It's like, okay.
And Metta World Peace.
You know, for me, like, I guess what was difficult for me when I stopped and thought about it and gave it some serious thought, it was like, it was that now announcing my top 5, who my top 5 players would be, like, to start at. Like, my top 5 all, like, Lakers to start a game for me. Like, who will my starting lineup be? Like, that was probably what was kind of difficult for me. You know, I mean, I never watched Elgin Baylor play. I never watched Jerry West play. Like you said, you know, same thing with Magic to an extent, because I was born in '84, so I wasn't able to really just watch and understand him like I was able to watch and begin to understand Michael Jordan at the time. But I wound up putting Kobe Bryant in my starting lineup.
Second question because this is the person he gets compared to, him and Michael Jordan. Magic Johnson says he's the closest thing to Michael Jordan we've ever seen.
Without question.
And it's not a question because their styles of play are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kobe Bryant is actually a slightly better jump shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan had better talent around him, in my opinion.
What I respect about Kobe Bryant, looking back on, because I wasn't the biggest Kobe Bryant fan like you were growing up. And I wasn't the biggest Jordan fan growing up. It wasn't until after I sat back and watched a few things differently, just analyzing his game and what he was doing in his prime and what the both of them was doing in their prime years, where I sat back and just really marveled and respected what they was doing during certain seasons and what they done over their overall career. One thing I say that Kobe Bryant to me was better at was that defense. I think Kobe Bryant was a better defender than Michael Jordan. I think Kobe wanted to be a better defender. I think Kobe Bryant wanted to be on the best guy. He didn't mind being on the best guy.
So I think people sleep on that too because Kobe Bryant usually did until Ron Artest, aka Metta World Peace, ended up.
Right. You can even
in
stay with
LA.
Trevor Ariza for a minute because Trevor Ariza was a good wing defender. Not as good as Kobe, but
even with Trevor Ariza, Kobe Bryant guarded the best guy. The only time Kobe didn't guard the best guy was when Ron Artest came to the team. And Ron Artest took the best win. But I mean, how many times have we seen Kobe Bryant guard Chris Paul?
Yeah.
And take Chris Paul out of the game.
Exactly.
It was like, this guy's the scorer. He's not supposed to be guarding this guy.
Right.
I have a lot of respect for two-way players.
Exactly.
That play both ends. I mean, you have the James Hardens out there that can put up 43, but who do you respect more, James Harden putting up 43 or Kawhi Leonard who put up 29 and almost took LeBron James out
of the whole? Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. And that's why I said I think Kobe Bryant was a much better defender than Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan was a good defender, but
right, he was. But I don't think. I guess if you like when most people try to put them together and say, hey, in a matchup, who will be better? I think the both of them, from a competitive standpoint, would have win each other hard. But I think Kobe Bryant would have made Michael Jordan work a whole lot harder than I think Jordan would have made Kobe work. And that's just with all due respect to Michael Jordan.
I think what people sleep on between the difference between the past and the present is in the past, it was a big man's game.
Yeah.
It was who had the bigger man down low.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had Magic, who could run the floor, but I mean, let's be real. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the guy.
That guy, yeah.
I mean, and then you look at Michael Jordan. I mean, he's a wing player.
Right.
I mean, Isaiah Thomas was out there doing his thing, but Isaiah Thomas doesn't match up with Michael Jordan.
Right.
There was very few players that were a matchup for Jordan. Jordan was just ahead of his time. Now it's the guards era.
Exactly.
Everywhere you look, it's James Harden, it's Stephen Curry. It's guards everywhere. The two you look for
that
LeBron
look to score
James,
instead of
Kevin Durant.
Set up the offense.
You're looking for those type of wing players. Now, back then it wasn't wing players, so Michael Jordan was a one of a kind.
Right.
Which he was before his time, which is why he gets the most credit he does.
Right.
Coming up, get to today's game, NBA Power Rankings, right here on the Sports Machine.
I am Dwayne Dean, and this is your Sports Machine News Update. Former Georgia coach Mark Richt on Wednesday agreed to become University of Miami's new head coach, and the deal is expected to be announced by the end of the week, according to sources with knowledge of the situation. By the middle of January, the hope is the NFL will know which teams and how many will be calling Los Angeles home in 2016. The owners will meet January 12th and 13th in Houston with the expectation that there will be a vote to get the matter resolved. I am Dwayne Dean. That was your Sports Machine News Update. Stay tuned when we have your NBA Power Rankings coming up next. The Sports Machine.
Sports Machine with Brian and Dean went over the college football recap, NFL update. Kobe Bryant, great career coming to an end after the season. Moving to this year's game, NBA Power Rankings. For those of you who are unaware of the NBA, it is going on right now. There's one team in particular that still has not lost So they are number 1. That'll be the Golden State Warriors. Just last night, Stephen Curry dropped 40 points and had 8 3-pointers made.
So we know what will be going down in the Curry's household tonight, or whenever he gets back in town.
20-0. Stephen Curry came out and said that the Warriors will lose a game before the Carolina Panthers do.
Wow.
Agree or disagree? I almost really, though, Stephen Curry for saying that. Shouldn't you put your money on yourself?
But you know, he's such a, like,
No.
it was so difficult for me because it was like,
He's got that same killer instinct. I don't care what anybody said. When you shoot a shot and turn around before it goes in, you got that instinct.
Exactly.
Don't play,
Like-
don't play with me. Oh, he's a baby face. No, there's a killer behind that baby face.
that's how it started. But I could understand why he said that as a fan, being from Carolina and being a fan. But honestly, I disagree with him. I don't see neither one of them losing the game.
I mean,
don't.
obviously,
I really don't.
Eventually, the Warriors are losing a game.
Once again, I think they go into the eventually. Yes, they will, but I just don't see them winning. I don't see them losing the game until next year. That could be January 1st. That could be January 1st. You can really know me. I don't care. But that could be January 1st or January 5th. But technically, that would still be the next year. But as of right now, besides the Christmas Day game where Cleveland comes into Oracle Arena, that's the only other game I see them potentially losing.
They play at Toronto on the 5th. Well, their next game.
Right.
Saturday, they play in Toronto. They play in Indiana.
Now that would be a game because
Tuesday.
Paul George is one of the best. Like what you just call him, the
Two-way players.
Exactly, one of the best two-way players in the game. Him and Kawhi Leonard.
Of course, unlike Mr. Ace Hanlon, I really can fight with both hands.
This dude really can. Like, he really can. He can put up, like you said, 30 points and still make it so difficult. If not shut the other guy down, make it so difficult for anybody else who's guarding him and defending him.
Right now, the Warriors are on a 7-game road trip. They've already played 2 of those games, Utah and Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Next game, Toronto. Then after that, Brooklyn is the very next night. And then 2 days later, they play Indiana. So I think Indiana's a possible before the year's done. Then you have, of course, the Christmas Day game. And at Dallas on the 30th will be another one.
Yeah. I still see this team winning out, man.
Okay.
I think this team is like somewhat like the media, and I know we're a part of it, but the media gave those guys something Roger Goodell gave Tom Brady, which was a chip on the shoulder of a championship. Like, it's hard for me to think that a championship team could have a chip on their shoulder, but somehow, some way, people have found a way to give them a chip on the shoulder. The wrong people. And so the league right now, the NFL, prior to Sunday night's game, was being torched crazy by Tom Brady. And then you turn around and look at the association being torn apart by the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they're out there dominating guys. I mean, Steph Curry's putting up 40 points in 3 quarters, and then he's sitting them, which I think is which is messing me out of what I said this dude could do from a standpoint of potentially beating Kobe Bryant's 81-point mark, which little brother B over there tends to shoot me down so hard for it. Says it can't happen because coach is going to sit him down, and right now he does have a point from that standpoint because every time he gets 40 points or even eclipses 30 points within 3 quarters, he's done for the rest of the game. It's like, let him off the leash, like the movie, like with Jet Li, when they was take the collar off for him and tell him, was it Danny the Dog? Like, you got Danny the Dog, Steph Curry. Let him go off on a team like the Sixers or something. Let him get like 85 points. Just to prove me right.
It's what I say. It's like all to prove you right.
Right.
All right, past the Warriors on the rankings.
Okay,
Number
man.
2, the Cavaliers is who I have.
Right.
Then the Spurs. You can flip flop those two, in my opinion.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people have the Spurs ahead of the Cavaliers. People think that the Wizards cracked the Cavaliers code. No, John Wall scored 32 points.
That's what that was.
It's okay. You lose games in the NBA unless you're the Golden State Warriors, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody just chill out. Kevin Love didn't have double-digit points or double-digit rebounds that game.
Right.
So it makes sense that the Cavaliers lost. Number 4, NBA Power Rankings, in my opinion, is who we just spoke about, who could give Golden State their first loss, the Indiana Pacers.
I could see that.
Just with Paul George, it's playing so well. I'm glad that whole leg breaking thing hasn't held him back.
Because that was vicious, man. Like, for anybody who just haven't seen it,
Don't
just Google search it.
Don't do it.
Google search.
You
And
somehow
because
survived
as a
this
guy
long.
who's had a broken ankle, now I didn't break mine to an extent of what he broke, how he broke his. But anybody who's just squeamish, I don't even recommend you look at it. But man, yeah, it's horrible. But like you said before, dude's a fighter, one of the best two-way players, if not the best two-way player in the game. And hey, like what that team can do.
Number 5 is the Chicago Bulls.
All right.
I like the way they played as of late. Although I will say, in the future, they do seem to struggle on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, in the East, seems like you can get away with it, but the way the East is coming up now,
You ain't be able to get away with it.
yeah, too much longer.
Exactly.
Number 6, I have the Miami Heat.
I actually went with my Dallas Mavericks.
It's pretty high.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah,
like
over there.
I'll call myself a homer.
I mean, it's pretty much what it is.
Right. I'll be the homer. It's not a knock to Miami. Miami looks great now that they've finally gotten somebody who could play in the inside with Whiteside, who's getting multiple blocks a game, who's a rebounding machine from time to time. I guess now your boy Chris Bosh can actually kind of stick to his main spot as a 4.
Number 7, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah. I got them behind.
Just the
Miami.
offensive powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Second best offensive team in the league, only the Golden State. Number 8, I have the Toronto Raptors.
Uh-huh.
The interesting thing about the Raptors, to me, is that you never know how they're going to win.
Right.
They don't really have. You always talk about something the team doesn't want is not to have an identity.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think Toronto has an identity. I just think they find ways to win
Right.
in weird ways. Number 9, the Atlanta Hawks struggled as of late. I think they're going to come back.
Exactly.
I think they've had a rough stretch of hard to play games.
Right.
Tough teams playing against. And their team play will overcome eventually. And number 10, I do have your Dallas Mavericks. I didn't just leave them totally out. It's close between the Grizzlies because the Grizzlies have been playing very well lately.
Right.
Don't know what happened to them.
Again, I still stated they let go of Lionel Hollins and then did pretty well with his same team using his same philosophy. They were still the same kind of team, but I guess now the new coach is starting to implement his system. And like I said before, hey, it wasn't nothing broke with the team, but
They just felt
apparently
like they
somebody
needed to
did.
go in another direction.
that's how it
And
started.
sometimes you just got to throw a screen out there to unexpected players. Up next, NFL Power Rankings. Sports Machine with Brian and Dean went over the college football recap. NFL, Kobe Bryant retiring in the NBA Power Rankings. Moving to the NFL. The Patriots lost.
So I think we know who, without a shadow of doubt, is at the top of that list.
You have the Panthers number 1.
Of course, without question.
Have the New England Patriots number 1 still.
Okay. With all their injuries,
Say something else.
just okay.
Say something else. Say something else.
Okay. I'll give you an okay.
This like no argument.
No,
Like okay, all right.
like
All
just
right.
just
I appreciate
like
that. I'll
like,
take that W.
I'll give you that okay just because it's just like no, like I don't agree with it, but
You don't agree with it.
no, heck no, I don't agree with it.
Why
They don't even know when their tight end is going to be back. Their best doggone tight end.
You think I'm impressed?
I mean-
you think I'm impressed by the Panthers beating the gift basket,
Santa Claus.
Tony Romo and Matt Castle?
They've been consistent. They've been consistent with their wins all season long. Like I don't think you understand. It's difficult for me to even be sitting up here like giving this team their props when they just came into Dallas and just dominated. I had to get at a fan
Hey.
for getting out of like line when
We weren't
Tony
gonna
Romo
bring
went
that-
down.
I was not going to bring that up. We were going to leave that on the low.
I had to get at a Carolina fan. I had to. He was clapping when Tony Romo went down. Like I think that was a straw.
What?
It was a straw that broke the camel's back. No, dude, come on, man. Like,
He was probably
He was
intoxicated.
okay. That's just gonna be his. All right. So now we get drunk. Dude. We just gonna. I was drunk. That's just gonna be the excuse for everybody
It's not
now.
an excuse, but you don't have to lower yourself to that dude's level.
But yeah, I went at him though. It's
You
like
did.
I had to drop the ring question on him. Sir. 5-time in my Booker T
Booker
voice.
T.
Exactly. Booker T voice. 5-time. We got a ring to fit on our thumb. How many do you exactly have? Sit down. Thank you.
I didn't want to ask that dude a trivia question about the Carolina Panthers to see if he knew the answer or if he was just like a bandwagon fan. Do you know who the quarterback was last time y'all went to the Super Bowl? Do you just know who he was?
I don't think you know. I know we know.
No.
You know, I know somebody used to call him Jake Del Homie, and he didn't like that very much. Who was that? Terry Bradshaw. He was like, "Can I call you Del Homie?" And he said, "No." Okay, He's like, that's like God. Like shut
That's
him down.
exactly what Ryan Fitzpatrick should do. I call you Fitzy. No.
But I got your boy. I got the Patriots number 2.
All right, I have the Panthers number 2. I'm not just a hater on Carolina.
As we go into the world of
I just think
The haters.
you on a college football committee.
Oh yeah, eye test. So eye test right now.
exactly what you went just straight like. Oh no,
Straight
like
eye test.
even though this team right here is undefeated and defense is playing stellar, and no.
New England's defense is also playing well,
Yeah.
except for against the
They're
great
top. They're top
Brock
5 actually.
Osweiler.
They're top 5, but once again, I mean, in overtime, they didn't have their best weapon out there. So, here's a surprise for you. Number 3. I have Arizona Cardinals.
I also have Arizona Cardinals.
Then I come in with the Cincinnati Bengals.
I also have the Cincinnati Bengals.
There's
This is
another.
surprising right now.
Next, I come in with
You have Minnesota.
yeah.
I knew you had Minnesota. I have the great. As long as Brock Osweiler is the starting quarterback, I will keep the Broncos in the top 5. But as soon as Peyton Manning comes back, they dropping.
What?
Immediate drop.
Man, I'm usually always the one who bashes the Mannings in the worst way. And like I found myself defending the Mannings and like
I have
saying
no
that this
problem with
guy.
Eli's still putting up good numbers. I like Eli. He's all right.
That's how he start.
I
That's
don't
how
have
he
a problem
start.
with Eli. Eli's still performing decent, and performing up to his level. Peyton Manning is not.
That's one guy who has earned his respect that, hey, if he say he's healthy, I'm good to go, you bring him back in. And you say, hey, prove it. And you let him prove it.
If I'm Brock Osweiler. All right, Peyton Manning goes in there. Say Peyton Manning goes out there. He's doing all right. Say Peyton Manning just throws an interception. Turns into the gift basket he was before he left. Comes out and look at Peyton Manning square in his eyes like father, like son. Yeah.
Brock Osweiler ain't earned nobody's like.
Let's see you out there going, Archie. You
Man.
ready?
Oh, boy. Brock Osweiler do something, I slap him down myself. Like,
Oh, you ain't good.
I slap him down
Brock
myself.
Osweiler
boy.
probably like 6'6". I'm about to look it up.
He's 6'8". He's 6'8". Like, so.
He really 6'8"?
Yes, bro.
Like, that's a fact.
Like, that's a matter of fact. Like, this dude is like, should be playing somebody's basketball. But we know the deal with that. Should have been somebody's tight end. He's 6'7", 6'8".
6'8". Wow.
Yeah. He's a tree. And it's funny because, like, in the game, he tried to run. I was like, everybody saw him scrambling. Like, did they really try to fool us with this 6'8" dude?
I don't know. He might have to throw a screen with him.
Yeah, that's how it works. You're the Cowboys, the vanilla bean offense. I do got the Broncos after I got the Charge. I got the Broncos after the Vikings.
I have the Vikings after the Broncos. Really, we don't have that much difference in actual rankings, but our opinions seem to differ quite a bit.
A whole lot of bit. A whole lot of bit, man.
Number 7, I have the Green Bay Packers.
I have the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh,
Yes. They're sliding, man.
yeah, the Legion of Boom is not Legion of Boom. They are now an offensive team. The Seahawks have become an offensive team.
Hey, be like this sometimes, man.
It's not good.
They doubt themselves now that one play got the whole team doubting themselves. It's true.
I have the. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna talk. I have the Seahawks number 10.
God.
Yeah,
Next, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I also have the Steelers at number 8. I just feel like they're the best 6-5 team ahead of the Seahawks. Because at least I feel like the Steelers have an excuse.
My only knock on the Steelers right now is anybody can pass on them. Like, their secondary is very suspect.
So is the Seahawks right now. They're supposed to be really good.
I know that secondary can make a play a whole lot better.
Not they.
The Legion of Boom can make a better play
They're no longer the Legion of Boom.
than the Pittsburgh Steelers.
When teams
Even the Packers. Packers defense is suspect right now. They're, iffy. Ooh.
Legion of Boom, 20.2 points against per game. It's 8th in the league. Not terrible. It's decent.
I have the Kansas City Chiefs after that. Basically,
I
the
have
Packers.
Chiefs. I have the Chiefs as well.
You do? All right. The Packers is basically 10.
Why? I don't understand why you have the Packers so low. Yet you have the Seattle Seahawks, the Legion of Doom over here.
The Legion of Doom. That still sounds cool.
It sounds cool, but it's not.
For one, because I think their defense can turn it on and actually help their team better than the rest of those defenses. That's not before them.
So you think the Packers have the worst defense out of the top 10 teams?
Mm-hmm.
I can see that, but I feel like their offense is better with Aaron Rodgers. I just feel like Aaron Rodgers gets them single-handedly to 7.
It's what happens when the offense is not going anywhere. That's the problem. I think people have begun, since their little old skid where they lost 3 straight, I think people has taken him off of that, man. Aaron Rodgers is that dude. He bad dude, bad man. And everybody's looking at him like, he's just Aaron Rodgers. He don't even got no help. We can get at him. Everything else, it's like the head of a snake. Cut it off.
I mean,
Body dies out too. So it's
talk
like
about injury-plagued teams.
Yeah.
Packers are injury-plagued. Plus, they have a running back there they thought was going to be a top 5 running back.
Mm-hmm.
Is now benched.
And let's look at the fact that Jordy Nelson should be considered as one of the top number one receivers in the league.
I don't agree with that.
So that was my deal right there. That's why I took him down so low.
I don't understand why you threw the Jordy Nelson part in there. I feel like that was irrelevant.
And that's very relevant because like
He hasn't been there all year.
without Jordy Nelson,
He hasn't been there all year. It's not like
I
it
know
just
he hasn't
happened.
been there. I know he hasn't been there all year. But once again, I looked at the fact that with Jordy Nelson, with that defense that they have, I think Aaron Rodgers and them still find a way to get them to win. But without Jordy Nelson, I think now everybody begins to see their receivers as average, below average,
They were average
pedestrian.
before.
Yeah, but at the time, people didn't look at them like that. They got exposed.
Wow, I think exposed is a strong word.
They did.
But
They got exposed. Put them on Facebook.
You want to put that on something?
They put him on. Oh man,
It's time.
he did. He exposed them right there on Facebook.
It's time. Some more exposing for all the people out there in sports that make you say,
He said you only do like that in Raleigh. Oh, you not? Let me know. I'll expose him right here on Facebook. So funny.
my really though today goes out to Byron Maxwell, cornerback, Philadelphia Eagles. Not anything big, but you know, reporters ask questions sometimes, ridiculous questions. He asked him, "Hey, how do you feel about going against the best quarterback in the league, Tom Brady?" Because they are playing the New England Patriots. Byron Maxwell is going to win the greatest teammate award of all time because he decided that it was cool to say, "I think Sam Bradford is the best."
Sam Bradford. He hasn't been the best since Oklahoma.
I don't understand.
Say it again. Say something else. Oh,
I can't find the right drop for
say
this.
something else. Say
As we
something
go
else.
into the world of the haters.
I'm not sure which one of those lines up with him. Like, there's a difference between being a good teammate and just being totally blind to the game of football.
Right.
Like, you must not watch offenses at all.
Man.
Do you watch your own offense when they're out there?
I don't.
All I know is Mark Sanchez came in, they thought you were going to be better.
Exactly. So
So Sam Bradford's not looking too hot out there right now.
that's
Out
how
in
it
the
started.
streets. If you're Tom Brady, do you use that as bulletin board material or do you just laugh at it? Because it's pretty laughable.
He ain't paying no mind because he's still upset at the fact that.
Roger.
Right.
It's nothing too big, but Maxwell, really though, really, Sam Bradford better than Tom Brady. I want you to look me in the face and say that with a straight face.
Man, somebody got 4 rings and there's a city that doesn't have any.
I feel like that was a shot in Philly. You just watch out when we talk about cities, man.
Oh, don't worry. I got a city on my list right now. My really though goes out to New York fans and New York media. Yep, I said it. You know, make this real quick. Kristaps Porzingis, right? Top 5 pick. He was a top 5, top 4 pick
I know who
in
he
the NBA draft. Well, I remember when this guy was drafted, he was booed pretty bad. He was booed about as bad as Philadelphia booed Donovan McNabb when he was drafted out of Syracuse. I mean, just no love, no welcome, no anything. This guy is taking that and is played about as well as any foreign guy can come over here and play in his first season.
Shouldn't we have learned something from this? Donovan McNabb played well after being booed. I think we should just boo all draft picks. That's what I'm doing this year. Every single draft pick the Chicago
Just
Bears
boo 'em.
draft, I'm just going to boo them.
So this guy, he's been putting up pretty good numbers. He's in the discussion for he's in the rookie of the year. He's a candidate for being rookie of the year. And so I saw a little old report where, you know, New York media doing what they do best, no different how they did with Jeremy Lin. Blow him up. Oh yeah, you know, Kristaps Porzingis, you know, like as if they was just in love with the pick when they grabbed him. Because he wasn't the best name out there They booed him. New York media wrote all kinds of crazy stories about the organization and what Phil Jackson was up there doing, the whole 9 yards. So I asked the media once again, what's changed? What's changed since then? Oh, well, y'all booed him because he wasn't a name, but instead of giving him a chance to actually go out there and play and prove that he was worthy of being drafted that way, now you guys are going to blow him up like y'all done some other people. Come on, man. Really though, New York media. Let's recap what you guys said about him. Let's recap what your fans said about him.
If we watched what New York media said, New York fans said all the time, they'd be on Really Though every day.
True story. You talk about knee-jerk reactions. They are the knee-jerk reaction of
it's
the.
It's not that much better here in Dallas, but
they're the knee-jerk reaction of the whole nation.
I don't know. Dallas do get like that sometimes, so I don't know.
Only when it gets to the Cowboys.
Only when it gets to the Cowboys. That's true.
Only when it gets to the
rest of the teams
Cowboys.
is kind of chill. Like the Stars are like one of the best teams in the NHL. No one's kind of chill. You know,
Right.
FC Dallas makes it to the Western Conference Finals, still chill.
It's only when
Dallas
the Cowboys. It's like Cowboys Nation goes slap nuts when stuff like that happens. Like Tony Romo's down again. Oh, shotguns in the mouth. It's over. Ending it.
Great show today. Coming up tomorrow, pick sixes and much more right here on the Sports Machine.